All right, let's check Tuesday's daily math. The first question asks you, what is the place value of the underlined digit? So you have the digit 1 underlined, and that's in the smallest whole unit place value, which is the ones place. On the second question, it's asking you the place value again, but this time the digit 2. So we've got to figure out which place value that's in. We have the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s. So the digit 2 is in the millions place value. It has a value of 2 million. Next, we have to fill in the blank. 6,399 is greater than, less than, or equal to 2,911. If I compare those numbers, I'm going to compare my largest place value. 6,000 is more than 2,000. So I know that 6,399 is greater than 2,199. 763 is greater than, less than, or equal to 736. If I look at my greatest place value, I have 700 and 700. So that doesn't help me. I have to go to my next place value. I have 6 tens and 3 tens. I know that 6 is more than 3. So 763 is greater than 736. Next, I have to write the number 407 in word form. So I'm going to write it just like I say it. 407. Notice the word and is not a part of that word. And means that there's a smaller unit than a whole number, so either a fraction or a decimal. And in the number 407, it's just a whole number. There's no smaller unit, so there's no and in the word 407. Next, we have to find the sum. The sum is the answer to an addition problem. So I'm going to add 729 plus 898. If I start with my smallest unit, I'm going to add the ones. 9 plus 8 equals 17. Write down my 7. Regroup the tens. I know that this 1 and 9 together make 10, plus 2 more is 12. So I'm going to write down my 2 and regroup the 1. 7 plus 8 is 15, plus 1 is 16. So my answer is 1,627. The next question asks us to find the difference, which is the answer to a subtraction problem. So I'm going to take 503 and I'm going to take away 395. Now, instead of regrouping here, I'm going to think about 503 as 500. So if I have 500 and I take away 395, that's going to leave me with 105. And then I need to go back and add this 3 that was from the original 503. So my answer is going to be 108. I can check that by adding my difference, or the answer, 108 plus 395. And if I did it correctly, I will get the answer that I started with of 503. So 8 plus 5 is 13. I'm going to write down my 3. Carry the 1. 1 plus 0 plus 9 is 10. Write down the 0. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Plus 3 is 5. I got 503, which is the original number we started with. So I know that my answer is correct. Next, we're finding the product. We have some 6's. So this is where knowing your facts are really going to help. But if I notice, as I go down, each time I have 6 times 6, 6 times 8, 6 times 12, 6 times 9, and 6 times 7. So I can use some facts to help me. If I don't automatically know 6 times 6, I can think, I do know 6 times 5, and that's really close. 6 times 5 is 30, and I need 6 more. So 6 times 6 equals 36. Then I can come on down. I noticed that I had 6 times 7. So if 6 times 6 is 36, I need 6 more. So 36 plus 6, 36 plus 4 gets me to 40, and I have 2 more that I need to add. That gets me 42. So 6 times 7 is 42. Now I can come back up to 6 times 8. So if I've got 42, oh, I wrote down the wrong thing, excuse me. Let me erase that. I need to add 6 more instead of 8 more. So 42 plus 6 more. Remember, this was 36 is 6 sixes. 42 is 7 sixes. So 42 plus 8 plus 6 will get me 8 sixes, excuse me. So 42 plus 6 is 48. 6 times 8 equals 48. So if 8 sixes gets me 48, I can add 6 again to get 6 times 9. So 48 plus 6 is going to get me to 54. 6 times 9 equals 54. So now we have 6 times 12 left. So if I know that 6 times 10 is 60, 6 more, 6 times 11 would be 66. I need 6 more than that. 6 times 12 equals 72. All right, on the next set of problems, we're finding the quotient. Remember, the quotient is the answer to a division problem. So if I look here, I notice that I'm dividing by 4 each time. So I can think of these as 4's in multiplication facts. So 44 divided by 4 equals something. I can also turn that around as a multiplication fact and say 4 times what equals 44. So I know that 4 times 11 equals 44. So therefore, 44 divided by 4 equals 11. The next question is 24 divided by 4 equals something. If I write that as a multiplication fact, 4 times what equals 24. I know that 4 times 6 equals 24. So 24 divided by 4 equals 6. The next one, you have 28 divided by 4. 4 times what number equals 28? And I know that that's 7. 4 times 7 equals 28. So 28 divided by 4 equals 7. Next up, we've got 36 divided by 4 equals something. If I write that as a multiplication problem, 4 times what equals 36? And I know that 4 times 9 equals 36. So 36 divided by 4 equals 9. And for the last one, 48 divided by 4 equals something. If I write that as multiplication, 4 times what number equals 48? Well, I know that 4 times 10 is 40, and 8 is 2 more 4s. So 4 times 12 is going to equal 48. 48 divided by 4 equals 12. And the last set of problems that we have asks you to find the product when you multiply by 10. So think back to the place value chart that we used last week. I'm going to go ahead and draw one over here. Put my ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10 thousands, and 100 thousands. So the first one, I'm going to change colors here. On the first question, I have find the product of 5 times 10. So I have 5 ones. I'm just going to write the digit 5 in the ones place. And it's getting 10 times bigger. So we discovered last week that when we make a number 10 times bigger, we move it over to the left on the place value chart to the next largest place value. So 5 ones times 10 becomes 5 tens, and the value of 5 tens is 50. So now for the next one, I'll change colors again. We have 50 times 10. Here's my 50, or 5 tens. If I make 5 tens 10 times bigger, then that 5 tens moves over to the hundreds place value. And I have 5 hundreds. And I would write that number 5 in the hundreds place. I have 0 tens and 0 ones. Next, if I go to 500 times 10, here's my 5 hundreds. I have 5 in the hundreds place value. I'm going to get 10 times bigger. So I'm going to move my 5 over to the left. Now I have 5 in the thousands place, 0 hundreds, 0 tens, and 0 ones. So my answer is 5,000. Okay, now we have 5,000 times 10. Doing the same thing, here's my 5 thousands. I'm going to multiply 5,000 times 10. Multiplying it by 10 moves it over to the left on the place value chart. So now I have 5 in the 10,000s place value. So when I write my answer, 5 10,000s, 0 thousands, 0 hundreds, 0 tens, 0 ones. So my answer is 50,000. And for the last one, I'm going to do 50,000 times 10. Let me find another color. All right, 50,000. I have 5 10,000s here. 5 10,000s times 10 moves my 5 over to the 100,000s place value. So I have 500,000s, 0 10,000s, 0 thousands, 0 hundreds, 0 tens, and 0 ones. So my answer is 500,000. Let's take a look. I'm going to switch back to blue. We'll take a look at what happened in each of our problems. If I go back to the first one, I had 5 times 10. So if I take the original 5 and I multiply by 10, I know that 5 times 1 equals 5. And what happens to this 0 from the 10? I had 1 0 in my problem. So that 0 is just added to the end of my 5 from 5 times 1. If I do 5 times 1 here, 5 times 1 equals 5. And I have 1, 2 zeros. So my product, or my answer, has 2 zeros. Let's look at 500 times 10. 5 times 1 is 5. There's 2 zeros. And 1 more 0 makes 3. And if I look at my product, I have 3 zeros. Are you noticing a pattern here? Let's check 5,000. 5 times 1 is 5. Here's 3 zeros plus 1 more 0. So there's 4 zeros total in my multiplication problem. So in my product, I also have 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. 50,000 times 10. 5 times 1 is 5. Here there's 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. 1 more makes 5 zeros. So in my product, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. We'll discover some more about that pattern this week. All right, that's the end of Tuesday's daily math.